I stood in the law office wearing the navy dress Grandma Rose had bought me 3 Christmases ago, listening to her attorney read words that would shatter the last decade of my life. To my beloved granddaughter Emma Walsh, who sacrificed so much, I leave $10,000 with my deepest gratitude. $10,000. For 10 years. The math was simple, brutal, $1,000 per year of my life. And the remainder of the estate, valued at approximately $2.3 million, shall be divided equally between my grandsons, Michael Chen and David Chen, to support their growing families. Michael, who visited twice a year for exactly 90 minutes each time. David, who remembered Grandma's birthday maybe half the time and always sent the same generic card from the grocery store. I watched them now, sitting across the conference table in their expensive suits, trying to look solemn while their eyes danced with the numbers. Michael's wife, Jennifer, wasn't even pretending anymore. She was on her phone, probably already browsing real estate listings. Emma, the attorney, Mr. Peterson, was looking at me with something like pity. Do you have any questions about the bequest? I had a million questions. Like why Grandma Rose, who told me weekly that I was her angel, had left me less than the cost of her hearing aids. Like how my cousins, who couldn't be bothered to show up for her 85th birthday, deserved nearly everything she'd built. But I just shook my head. Actually, Michael cleared his throat, that smooth corporate voice he used. We wanted to discuss something with Emma. Here it comes, I thought. The estate includes Grandma's house. We're planning to sell it, obviously. We'd like you out by the end of next month. That should give you plenty of time to find something. The house where I'd lived for a decade. The house where I'd converted the dining room into a bedroom when Grandma couldn't manage stairs anymore. Where I'd installed grab bars in every bathroom. Where I'd held her hand through 3 hospital scares and countless doctor's appointments. End of next month, I repeated. Well, yes, David chimed in. The realtor says we can get top dollar if we list before spring. It's nothing personal, Emma. Just business. Nothing personal. Just the erasure of 10 years of my life in a 30-day notice. And, Jennifer finally looked up from her phone, we'll need the jewelry back. The pieces Grandma let you wear. Those are estate assets. My hand went automatically to the pearl necklace at my throat. Grandma had clasped it around my neck on my 30th birthday, crying as she told me her own mother had given it to her. For my Emma, she'd whispered. My real granddaughter. The jewelry isn't mentioned in the will, Mr. Peterson said carefully. Exactly, Michael leaned forward. Which means it's part of the general estate. We've already had it appraised. Those pearls alone are worth $40,000. The room tilted slightly. They'd had Grandma's jewelry appraised. Had probably catalogued every piece while I was busy keeping her alive. When? The word came out hoarse. When what? David looked annoyed. When did you have it appraised? The cousins exchanged glances. Michael shifted in his seat. Emma, let's not make this difficult. When? 3 weeks ago, Jennifer answered, bold as brass. When Rose was in the hospital that last time. We needed to know what we were working with. While I was sleeping in a chair next to Grandma's hospital bed, icing her lips because she couldn't swallow, holding her hand through the worst nights, they were downtown getting her belongings valued like items at an auction. I see, I said softly. Look, David tried for something like compassion. We know you took care of her. We appreciate that. But you have to understand, Jennifer and I have 3 kids. College tuition isn't getting cheaper. And Michael and Stephanie are trying for a baby. They need a bigger house. You did it out of love, Michael added. We have actual financial responsibilities. There it was. The knife, slipped between my ribs with surgical precision. My love, my decade, my sacrifice, worth $10,000. Their absence, their neglect, their performative visits, worth millions. Because they had families. Real lives. Important things. And I had what? Love. You're right, I stood up, smoothing my dress. I did do it out of love. Michael looked relieved. We knew you'd understand. Mr. Peterson, I turned to the attorney. I'd like copies of all estate documents sent to my email. Every page. Of course. And I'll need the exact date when this will was executed. His eyebrows rose slightly. May 15th, 2021. About 2 years ago. 2 years ago. When Grandma was still sharp, still capable. Before the stroke that changed everything. Before I'd given up my marketing director position to care for her full time. Thank you, I picked up my purse. I'll be out of the house by the end of the month. Emma, wait, David called as I reached the door. The jewelry? I turned back, meeting his eyes. Then Michael's. Then Jennifer's grasping, eager face. Come get it yourselves, I said. You know where I live. 4:30 more days. I walked out before anyone could respond. The coffee shop 3 blocks away became my war room. I ordered the largest latte they had and opened my laptop with shaking hands. First, the will. I read every word Mr. Peterson had sent. Looked for loopholes, errors, anything. Found nothing but ironclad legalese that gave my cousins everything and me crumbs. Second, my bank account. The number stared back at me, $847.23. 10 years of caregiving. No salary. No benefits. No retirement contributions. I'd been living on Grandma's generosity. She covered food, utilities, the basics. But I had nothing of my own. My savings had evaporated within the first year when I'd quit my job. The job. God, the job. I'd been making $89,000 a year as marketing director for a tech startup. Had equity. Had prospects. Had a boss who'd begged me not to leave. Take a leave of absence, Rachel had pleaded. 6 months. We'll hold your position. But 6 months became a year, became 10 years because Grandma needed me and no one else would do it. Third, reality check. I pulled up rental listings. Even studio apartments in this city started at $1,800 a month. My $10,000 would last approximately 5 months. Then what? My phone buzzed. Michael, just being clear, we need all the jewelry, including the pieces in your room. We'll be by Friday to collect. My hands clenched around the phone. The pearls. The sapphire ring Grandma wore on special occasions. The diamond bracelet her late husband had given her on their 50th anniversary. The opal earrings that matched my eyes. For my Emma, she'd said every time she let me wear something. You have the grace to carry these. You remind me of myself when I was young. Another text, David this time. Also, we're going to need documentation of any expenses you might have charged to Grandma's accounts. Just for tax purposes. Tax purposes. They were auditing my caregiving. I typed back, every receipt is filed. You're welcome to review them. I kept immaculate records. Because I had. Every grocery run. Every medication pickup. Every medical supply. 10 years of documentation proving I'd spent Grandma's money on exactly what she needed and nothing else. Unlike them, apparently, who'd been planning their inheritance spending while she was still breathing. A new message, this time from a number I didn't recognize. Emma, this is Stephanie, Michael's wife. I wanted to reach out woman to woman. I know this is hard, but try to see it from our perspective. Michael and I have been trying to conceive for 3 years. IVF is expensive. We need this money for our future family. Surely you can understand that's more important than your hurt feelings. My future family versus my hurt feelings. A decade of my actual life versus their hypothetical children. I closed my eyes and saw Grandma Rose at her kitchen table, teaching me to make her famous lemon cake. Saw her laughing at my terrible jokes. Saw her crying when I came back from the store with the specific brand of tea she loved that I'd driven to 3 different shops to find. You're the only one who really sees me, she told me once, late at night when the pain was bad. The only one who treats me like I'm still Rose, not just some old lady in the way. But apparently, even she hadn't seen me clearly enough to leave me security. To give me a foundation after I'd given her everything. Or had she? I pulled up the will again, reading more carefully this time. May 15th, 2021. Before her stroke. Before she'd gotten confused sometimes, forgot names, had trouble following conversations. Before she'd needed me most desperately, a thought crystallized, sharp and clear. What if there was another will? I called Mr. Peterson. He answered on the third ring, sounding harried. Emma, I know this must be difficult. Did Grandma Rose ever discuss updating her will with you? After May 2021? Silence. Then, I'm not at liberty to discuss client intentions. That's not a no. More silence. Emma, the will I read today is the most recent valid document on file. Most recent on file. What about documents not on file? I really can't. Mr. Peterson. Please. I gave up 10 years. I just need to know if she tried. He sighed, the sound of a man breaking protocol. She called me. November 2023. Said she wanted to make changes. I sent her the paperwork. She never returned it. November 2023. Right after her stroke. When she could barely hold a pen. When she'd needed help signing birthday cards. When my cousins knew she was vulnerable. Who had her power of attorney? I asked, though I already knew. Michael Chen. As of June 2023. 5 months before she tried to change the will. Thank you, I whispered and hung up. I sat in that coffee shop until they closed, piecing together what had happened. Grandma had wanted to change the will. Had tried to. But Michael, with power of attorney, had access to her mail, her documents, her communications. Those papers had never reached her. I'd bet my $10,000 on it. Could I prove it? Probably not. Could I contest the will? Maybe, but legal battles took money I didn't have and time that would drain me dry. Or, I could do something else entirely. I opened a new browser tab and searched for my old boss's name. Rachel Morrison, now CEO of the startup I'd left. The company had gone public 2 years ago. I'd seen the headlines. Her email was still in my contacts. I started typing. Rachel, it's Emma Walsh. I know it's been a decade, but I'm writing to ask if that offer still stands. I'm ready to come back. And I'm bringing ideas. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Then I opened a new document and started writing. Everything I'd learned in 10 years of managing Grandma's care. The systems I'd built. The resources I'd discovered. The gaps in the elder care industry I'd identified firsthand. I wrote until midnight, then drove back to Grandma's house, my house, for 23 more days. The jewelry was laid out on my dresser. I'd been planning to wear the pearls to dinner tomorrow, a small comfort. Instead, I took photos of every piece. Close-ups showing the craftsmanship, the details, the beauty. Then I packed them carefully in their original boxes. But I kept one thing. A slim gold locket Grandma had pressed into my hand the week before she died. It didn't open anymore, the hinge broken decades ago. Inside was a photo of her as a young woman, fierce and bright-eyed. This one's not valuable, she'd whispered. Just sentimental. The boys won't want it. She'd been right. It wasn't on their appraisal list. I clasped it around my neck and got to work. By dawn, I had a business plan. By noon, I'd incorporated Care Partner Solutions, LLC. By evening, I had a website framework and a mission statement. Rachel called while I was wrist-deep in legal paperwork. Emma Walsh, her voice was warm, delighted. I've been hoping you'd call for 10 years. I'm not calling to come back, I said. I'm calling to pitch you. I spent an hour explaining my vision, an app that connected family caregivers with resources, support, and most importantly, fair compensation documentation. A platform that would help people like me prove their worth, track their hours, ensure they weren't left destitute after years of service. The market is massive, I concluded. Baby boomers are aging. Family caregivers provide an estimated $470 billion in unpaid labor annually. They're burning out, going broke, and the system treats them like their work doesn't matter. Because the system assumes women will do it for free, Rachel said quietly. Out of love. Exactly. I'm in. How much do you need? I hadn't expected this. What? For startup capital. I'm an angel investor now, among other things. I invest in companies led by women who've been overlooked. How much do you need? My hands were shaking. 50,000 to start. Build the MVP, hire a developer, run a pilot program. You'll have 75,000 by Monday. I'm sending my lawyer's contact. Let's do this right. After we hung up, I sat in Grandma's kitchen, my kitchen for 19 more days, and cried. Not from grief, though that was there. From something bigger. Something like hope. Friday arrived. Michael texted, "We'll be there at 2 p.m. for the jewelry." I had everything boxed and ready, laid out on the dining room table. Every piece from the appraisal list, plus receipts, authentication certificates, and a detailed inventory. They arrived in Michael's Tesla, all three of them, Michael, David, and Jennifer. Stephanie, apparently, was too delicate for this mission. "Emma," Michael started, trying for warmth. "How are you holding up?" "Fine," I gestured to the table. "It's all there. You can check against your list." Jennifer immediately started opening boxes, examining pieces with her phone out, comparing to photos. "The sapphire ring?" she asked. "Box 3. Diamond bracelet?" "Box 1. She went through every item with the thoroughness of a customs inspector. Finally, satisfied, she nodded to Michael. "Great," he clapped his hands together. "That wasn't so hard, was it?" "There is one thing," I said. David tensed. "Emma, we're not negotiating." "Not the jewelry," I interrupted. "I want to buy something from the estate." They looked at each other. "Buy what?" Michael asked suspiciously. "Grandma's recipe box. The wooden one in the kitchen. I'll give you $1,000 for it." $1,000 for a box of recipes? Jennifer laughed. "Emma, just take it. We don't want it." "No," I said firmly. "I want to purchase it legally. I want a bill of sale. I want it documented that I paid fair market value for something from this estate." Understanding dawned on Michael's face. "You think we'd accuse you of stealing?" I think, I met his eyes, that I'd like everything in writing. Lawyer to lawyer. Clean and clear. He had the grace to look uncomfortable. "Fine. We'll have Peterson draw up a bill of sale." "Thank you." They loaded the jewelry into Jennifer's designer tote bag, Grandma's legacy reduced to something that could be carried out in one trip. At the door, David turned back. "Emma, look. We're not monsters. We know you cared about her." I did. "And we appreciate that. We do. It's just, we have different obligations. Different pressures." "I understand," I said. And I did. I understood perfectly. After they left, I sat with Grandma's recipe box, running my fingers over the worn wood. Inside were index cards in her careful handwriting, some dating back 50 years. Recipes, yes, but also notes in the margins. Tips. Memories. Stories. On the lemon cake card, Emma made this for my 87th birthday. Best one yet. She added extra lemon zest, smart girl. On the pot roast, Emma stayed up all night when I had pneumonia. Made this to get my strength back. She's the daughter I never had. Daughter. Not granddaughter. Tucked in the very back, in an envelope marked "Emma, when you're ready," a letter. My hands trembled as I opened it. "My dearest Emma. If you're reading this, I'm gone, and I'm so sorry. I tried to fix things. Tried to make sure you were taken care of properly. I called my lawyer, but the papers never came. Michael said they got lost in the mail. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm just paranoid in my old age. But just in case I'm right to worry, I want you to know something. The real treasure isn't the jewelry or the house or the money. It's the strength I saw in you every single day. The courage to sacrifice your own dreams to care for an old woman. The grace to do it without resentment. Your cousins have money coming. But you, my darling girl, have something they'll never have, the ability to build something real. You did it for me, turned caregiving into an art form, a science, a calling. Now do it for yourself. The world needs people like you. People who see the value in care, in presence, in love as action. Build something beautiful, Emma. Build something that matters. And know that every single day, I was grateful. You were my angel. My real granddaughter. All my love, Grandma Rose. P.S. Check the lemon cake recipe again. Look closer. I pulled out the lemon cake card with shaking hands. Flipped it over. In tiny letters along the edge, so small I'd missed it, Chase Bank, account number 847392, password, Emma's Lemon Cake 2023. My heart stopped. I ran to my laptop, pulled up Chase's website, entered the information with fingers that could barely type. The account opened. Balance, $250,000. A note in the transaction history, dated 3 weeks before Grandma died, for Emma's future. The real inheritance. Hide it better than the will. Love, Rose. I stared at the screen until the numbers blurred. She'd known. She'd known they'd try to cut me out, and she'd hidden money where they'd never think to look. In the recipes. In the one thing she knew I'd fight to keep. I called Mr. Peterson, laughing and crying simultaneously. Emma, are you all right? I need to know if someone opens an account in their own name and leaves someone else the access information, is that part of the probate estate? Silence. Then, not if the account was set up with transfer on death beneficiary designation. Those pass outside of probate. Why? No reason, I said, pulling up the account details. There it was, TOD designation to Emma Walsh. Just curious. Thanks, Mr. Peterson. I hung up and looked around the house, my home for 16 more days, but no longer my prison. $250,000 from Grandma. $75,000 from Rachel. $10,000 from the will, I'd take it, I'd earned every penny. $325,000 to build something that mattered. I opened my laptop and got to work. 6 months later, I stood in front of a room full of investors, pitching Care Partner Solutions 2.0. We'd launched the beta with 50 family caregivers. The results were staggering. People finally had documentation of their work, connections to resources, and most importantly, a community that valued them. Family caregiving is invisible labor, I told the investors. It's dismissed as what you do out of love. But love doesn't pay rent. Love doesn't fund retirement. Love doesn't give you back the decade you spent caring for someone while everyone else lived their lives. I clicked to the next slide. Care Partner Solutions makes that labor visible. We help caregivers track their hours, document their impact, and most importantly, get compensated fairly, either through family agreements, estate planning, or even eventual insurance integration. Michael was in the back row. I'd noticed him slip in 5 minutes after my pitch started, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent used to. I didn't care. I kept talking. The US has 53 million family caregivers. That's a $470 billion market being completely ignored. We're not asking for charity. We're demanding recognition of value already being provided. After the pitch, during the reception, Michael approached. He looked older, tired. Good. Emma, he started. That was impressive. Thank you. I had no idea you were doing this. Building a company. Why would you? I sipped my champagne, the good stuff, the kind Grandma used to save for special occasions. You never asked what I was doing with my life. He flinched. Look, I've been thinking about everything. About the will, about how we handled things. Jennifer and I are having problems. She says I don't value her contributions to our family. That I treat her like she's less than me because she quit her job to try to get pregnant. The irony was so thick I could taste it. That sounds difficult, I said neutrally. I told her she did it out of love. That her value wasn't financial. He laughed bitterly. She threw a lamp at me. Good for her. Emma, he looked genuinely distressed now. Was I wrong? About everything? I thought about saying yes. About explaining in detail every way he'd failed, every moment of cruelty disguised as practicality, every assumption that his life mattered more than mine. But I was tired of teaching people lessons they should have learned themselves. Michael, you got what you wanted. You got the inheritance, the house, the jewelry. What I think about it doesn't matter anymore. But you're successful now. You built this company. So it worked out, right? Everything happens for a reason. There it was. The absolution he was seeking. Permission to believe his cruelty had been secretly benevolent, that my success justified his selfishness. No, I said clearly. It worked out because I worked it out. Because Grandma saw who I was and protected me the only way she could. Because I refused to let you define my worth. But you were just someone in my way. An obstacle I overcame. His face paled. Emma, I'm trying to apologize here. No, you're not. You're trying to feel better about yourself. That's different. I turned to walk away, then stopped. Actually, there is one thing you should know. Grandma tried to change the will. November 2023. Called her lawyer, requested the paperwork. It never reached her. You had power of attorney at the time. His expression shifted from confused to horrified to defensive in rapid succession. I didn't intercept anything. I'm not accusing you of anything legally actionable, I said calmly. I'm just stating facts. She tried. You had access. The papers didn't arrive. Draw your own conclusions. I started to leave again. Emma, wait. The account. The Chase account. We found references to it in some of her old papers. That money should have been part of the estate. There it was. Of course they'd come looking. That account was set up with transfer on death designation directly to me, I said. It passed outside of probate. Completely legal. Your lawyers can verify if you'd like. But it's not fair. She had 2.3 million, and you get that too? I get what she wanted me to have. What she hid from you because she knew exactly what you'd do. I smiled, razor sharp. Tell me, Michael, how much is left of your inheritance? He looked away. Jennifer spent it, he admitted quietly. New house, new car, IVF treatments that didn't work, investments that tanked. We're actually in debt now. I came here hoping, he laughed desperately. I don't even know what I was hoping. That you'd hire me, maybe. I got laid off 3 months ago. The old me would have felt sorry for him. The old me who did everything out of love. The new me, the one Grandma Rose had hidden $250,000 for, the one who'd built a company on the truth that love and labor both have value, she felt nothing but cold clarity. I'm not hiring, I said. But I can give you some advice. The same advice you gave me at the lawyer's office. He looked up, hopeful. Find a place to live by the end of the month. It's nothing personal. Just business. I walked away and didn't look back. Care Partner Solutions raised $3 million in Series A funding. We expanded to all 50 states within 18 months. I hired Rachel as COO. Turned out running a tech company and running a caregiving revolution required the same skills. I bought a house. Not as big as Grandma's, but mine. Paid in full. No mortgage. No one to answer to. The dining room became my office. I put Grandma's recipe box on the shelf where I could see it every day, next to a framed photo of us in her garden, both laughing at some joke I can't remember anymore. The locket never comes off. Sometimes people ask if I regret the lost decade. If I wish I'd set boundaries, protected my career, thought of myself first. I tell them no. Not because the sacrifice was worth it, sacrifice shouldn't be necessary. But because that decade taught me something invaluable, the difference between love and exploitation, between generosity and being used, between family and people who share your blood. Grandma Rose knew the difference too. That's why she hid the money. Not because she didn't trust me, but because she didn't trust them. She knew that people who value money over relationships will always find a way to take both. She gave me the money not as payment you can't pay for love, but as ammunition. Resources to build something that would honor what we'd shared by making sure others didn't have to choose between love and survival the way I did. Last week, I got an email from a woman in Ohio. She'd used Care Partner Solutions to document 5 years of caring for her father. When he died, his will left everything to her brother because he needed it more. But she had records. Hours logged. Care documented. Market value calculated. She took her brother to court and won a $200,000 settlement for unjust enrichment. You gave me proof, she wrote. Proof that I wasn't crazy, that my work had value, that I deserved better. Thank you for seeing us. I printed the email and pinned it above my desk, next to 17 others just like it. This is what Grandma Rose's $250,000 bought, not comfort, not revenge, but change. And every single day, I make that lemon cake. Extra lemon zest, just the way she taught me. For my Emma, I imagine her saying, "My smart girl. My real granddaughter." If this story resonated with you, I hope you'll remember, love is real, but so is labor. Family is important, but so are you. And sometimes the people who truly see you will find creative ways to protect you, even from beyond the grave. You're not selfish for wanting recognition. You're not mercenary for needing security. You're human. And you deserve both love and fairness. Never let anyone convince you otherwise.